Yes, sir.
I made the point that, number one, I strongly believe that this nation is going nowhere without engineering. Because no country, I don't know of any country that developed without engineering. And not just engineering, indigenous engineering is very important. And in fact, in some of the recently developed nations, engineering is not just what you see as a traditional engineering, but even planning and moving the country forward. For example, in China, at one point, 8 out of their top 9 leaders were engineering practitioners, including the president himself. The president was an engineer. And it is because of the training that engineering practitioners get. That's what makes them good at trying to put plans together, good at trying to put together execution, and so on. And in fact, in China, the typical mayor, not just the top, the typical mayor is likely to be an engineering practitioner or somebody in science because of the training of the mind. And in China, if you want to be a successful politician, you better be an engineer, a technologist, or a scientist. That's probably the best qualification. Now, I'm not suggesting by any means that other people don't know, but it is important to look at what other people have done and been successful and then try to emulate that. The next thing that I also say is that we in Ghana, and indeed all of Africa, what we have observed is that we have what I call individual excellence, which means we have good people. Any field that you can, identify, you will find a Ghanaian who is, among the tops in the world. Go to any institution and so you find a Ghanaian. But come home, they are not doing well. I think most people admit that we are not doing well, and it is not commensurate with the kind of capabilities that we have as individuals. So this is why I say that we have individual excellence, but we have group incompetence. We have not managed to put our individual excellence together to move the country forward, and that is what is lacking. And particularly for engineering practitioners, this is the advice that I give, that it is not enough to be a great individual engineer, because engineering by its very nature is almost like a team sport. It's multidisciplinary. You need to bring all kinds of expertise together, so you need to work together. And that calls for group excellence.
So we'll take it one by one now, because you spoke about the fact that if you're going to become a mayor, I'll assembly.
So there are two sides to that. That is one that you said. The other is also to motivate engineers and the engineering practitioners to recognize that we have a special role to play in the country. Not just by designing and so on, but helping to run the country. And in fact, what I am pushing for within the engineering community is for us to make sure that we have engineering practitioners at every level of governance. In the district assemblies, we must have engineering practitioners at the district assembly level, the municipal assembly, parliament, within the cabinet, and so on, and even within the judiciary. I would prefer to see judges who have engineering, background. By all means, they need a law background. But if they started as engineering practitioners and went into law, I am convinced that they will make even better.
Finally, sir, let's talk about the recent collapse of buildings. What have you to say? Do you foresee more buildings going to go down? Well, it looks like more buildings are springing up out there.
I certainly hope not. But realistically, we may have a few buildings going down. The problem, in fact, what we need to do is look forward. Many of these buildings were not designed by competent people. Sometimes we cut corners and so on. But now one of the things we are doing is educating the public to understand the role of engineering. That if you must engage the services of a competent person, of the right people, before you put up these structures. Buildings designed by, sometimes it's easy to get maybe a mason, Yes, masons have expertise up to a certain level, but they may not be able to look at the structures and so on and so forth, and these are important. So again, within the engineering community, we need to make sure that we all come together so we understand what is the role of the professional engineer. What is the role of the professional engineering technologist? What is the role of the technician? What is the role of the craftsman? So we need to, everybody has a role. And if we are able to define that and coordinate that and execute well, then the whole country will be better.
Grateful. We are grateful, sir.